A fisherman found a seagull with a ring stuck on its foot. When he brought it to a pawn shop and learned the real value, he turned pale. Martin Harris had spent most of his life chasing tides and hauling nets along the rugged coast of Oregon. The sea had shaped him, weathered skin, quiet eyes and hands strong from years of handling rope and steel. He didn't ask for much, just solitude, open water and the occasional warm meal. It was during one of his early morning walks along the misty shoreline that he noticed it, a struggling seagull, hopping awkwardly near the edge of the dunes. At first he thought it was injured from fishing lines or storm debris, but as he got closer, he saw something far stranger. The bird's right leg was swollen and bruised, constricted by what looked like a metal band, but not a typical tracking tag. This was something else, round, ornate, gilded. Crouching down, Martin moved slowly, whispering calming words as he approached. The gull flapped and cried out but didn't flee. It was too weak. With steady hands and a bit of patience, Martin caught the bird gently and took a closer look. Wrapped around the seagull's leg was a ring, an actual ring, like one worn on a person's finger. It was tight and digging into the skin, its golden surface dulled but still gleaming faintly. Tiny symbols had been etched into its sides, surrounding a faded gemstone set into the center. It took several careful minutes, but Martin eventually freed the ring from the bird's leg. The seagull gave one last shiver, then took flight, wobbly at first, then strong, disappearing into the gray sky. Martin stood alone on the beach, staring down at the object in his hand. It felt cold, unnaturally so, and heavier than it looked. It was far too intricate to be some child's lost trinket. He considered keeping it as a strange trophy. After all, how many fishermen could say they'd saved a bird wearing a ring? But curiosity tugged at him. And so later that afternoon, he stepped into a local pawn shop he knew well, Crosby's Trade and Tools. He'd sold a few things there over the years. Nothing unusual, some old gear, a rusted anchor once. The place was quiet. Martin walked up to the counter where old Miss Crosby stood hunched over a ledger. Without much thought, Martin slid the ring across the glass. "Pulled this off a gull this morning," he said. "Weirdest thing I've seen all year." Crosby glanced up lazily, then reached for a magnifier. The moment his lens hit the ring, his posture changed, his fingers froze. He blinked twice and leaned in closer. The color drained from his face. "Where did you say you found this?" he asked, voice low. Martin frowned. "On the beach. Bird had it stuck on its leg." "What?" Crosby didn't answer. He picked up a cloth, gently cradled the ring, and carried it into the back room. Martin waited, confused, slightly unsettled. When Crosby returned, he was holding an old book, flipping frantically through pages, until he stopped at a faded photograph. He placed it next to the ring, and looked up at Martin, visibly shaken. "This ring, it's not just valuable," he said. "It matches a piece that was documented missing in 1944, a royal signet ring stolen during the Nazi occupation of France, worth millions. And more than that, it's a piece of world history." Martin stared at the ring, then back at Crosby. "On a seagull," he whispered. Crosby nodded. "If that's real, and I think it is, you just found something people have been searching for nearly 80 years. Authorities were contacted. Experts arrived. The ring was authenticated and quickly placed under protection. News outlets tried to trace its journey, how it ended up halfway across the world, clamped to a bird's leg. No one could say for sure. Had someone tried to smuggle it, only for it to fall into the sea? Had it passed through generations, only to vanish and reappear like a ghost? Martin never found out. He was compensated handsomely, of course, and his name made the local paper, but he refused every interview. He didn't care for attention. What mattered most to him was the strange fleeting moment, when a wounded bird needed help, and fate handed him a relic of the past, through a twist no one could explain. And sometimes on foggy mornings, Martin still walks the beach, not for treasure, not for glory, just in case another seagull needs saving.